Welcome to Master English Stories, where history comes alive and English becomes easy. Here we tell the world's greatest stories in simple English so you can learn, enjoy, and grow with every word. Today, we bring you the unforgettable tale of a man who changed the world before he turned 33. A king, a warrior, a legend. In ancient times, there lived a man who dreamed bigger than anyone before him. His name was Alexander, and the world came to know him as Alexander the Great. He was born in 356 BC in the city of Pella, the capital of Macedonia, a kingdom in northern Greece. His father was King Philip II, a clever and powerful ruler. His mother was Olympias, a proud and passionate woman. She often told Alexander he was not just a boy, but the son of Zeus, the most powerful of all gods. From the very beginning, Alexander believed he was special. He believed he was born for greatness. Even as a child, he was curious, brave, and very smart. One day, when he was around 12 years old, a strong and wild horse was brought to the palace. The horse kicked, bit, and refused to let anyone ride it. Everyone thought it was impossible to tame. But Alexander noticed something. He saw that the horse was scared of its own shadow. So he gently turned the horse toward the sun so it couldn't see the shadow. Then he jumped on its back. The horse calmed down and obeyed him. Everyone clapped and cheered. His father smiled and said, "My son, you must find a kingdom big enough for you. Macedonia is too small." The horse's name was Bucephalus, and he became Alexander's friend and partner in every major battle. Together, they would ride into history. As he grew older, Alexander received the best education possible. His father hired Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time, to be his teacher. Aristotle taught him about science, math, philosophy, ethics, and especially Greek literature. Alexander's favorite book was the Iliad, an epic story about the Trojan War. He admired Achilles, the strongest warrior in the story. He even kept a copy of the book under his pillow. He didn't want to just read about heroes, he wanted to become one. The young king. Alexander's journey to power began with tragedy. When he was just 20 years old, his father, King Philip, was assassinated during a wedding celebration. Some believed it was part of a political plot. Others even thought Alexander's own mother was involved, but nobody knew the full truth. After Philip's death, Alexander became king, but many thought he was too young and too inexperienced to rule. Some cities in Greece saw an opportunity to break free from Macedonian rule, but Alexander acted fast. He marched to Thebes, the strongest of the rebellious cities. He destroyed it completely except for the house of a famous poet. This shocked all of Greece. They now saw that this young king was not weak. He was strong, clever, and very dangerous. No one dared to rebel again. The war against Persia. Now that Greece was under control, Alexander turned to a greater goal, defeating the Persian Empire, the most powerful empire in the world at the time. In 334 BC, Alexander crossed the Hellespont, now the Dardanelles, with 40,000 soldiers and entered Asia Minor. Before landing, he threw a spear into the ground and declared, "This land is mine." His first major battle was at the Granicus River. The Persians waited on the other side. Alexander led the attack himself, crossing the river on horseback. The Persians were shocked. Alexander won the battle and took control of much of Western Asia Minor. Next, in 333 BC, he faced King Darius III of Persia at the Battle of Issus. Darius brought a massive army, but Alexander attacked quickly, going straight for Darius. Darius panicked and ran away, leaving behind his wife, mother, and children. Alexander did not harm them. He treated them with great respect and kindness. This act showed that he was not only a fierce warrior, but also a man of honor. Darius offered peace and half his empire. Alexander refused. He said, "I am now the king of Asia." Siege of Tyre and the road to Egypt. After Issus, Alexander turned south to capture the rich cities along the coast. One of the most difficult was Tyre, an island city with strong walls. The siege lasted 7 months. Alexander ordered his men to build a bridge to the island. Finally, they broke through. After Tyre, Alexander marched into Egypt. The Egyptians hated Persian rule. When Alexander arrived, they welcomed him as a liberator. They made him a pharaoh, a god-king. In Egypt, Alexander founded the city of Alexandria near the Nile River. It would later become a famous center of learning and culture. While in Egypt, Alexander visited the sacred temple of Amun in the desert. The priests told him he was the son of Amun, the Egyptian form of Zeus. Alexander left the temple more confident than ever, believing that he truly was part god. The fall of Persia. In 331 BC, Alexander met Darius again at the Battle of Gaugamela, the final and most important battle. Darius brought a massive army with elephants and war chariots. But Alexander was calm. He studied the land and created a clever plan. During the battle, he again led a direct attack toward Darius. Once again, Darius ran. After the victory, Alexander marched into the heart of the Persian Empire. He entered the great cities of Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis. In Persepolis, the center of Persian power, Alexander held a great feast. Some say that during the party, he ordered the palace to be burned to revenge the Persians' past attack on Athens. Others say it was an accident. Either way, the palace was destroyed. The fire symbolized the end of the Persian Empire. Alexander was now the ruler of the largest empire the world had ever seen, beyond Persia, but he wasn't done yet. Alexander pushed farther east into the wild lands of Central Asia, places like Bactria and Sogdiana. The people there fought fiercely. In one battle, Alexander climbed the walls of a mountain fortress himself to inspire his men. During these campaigns, he met and married Roxana, the daughter of a local chief. It was both a love match and a political move to unite his empire. Alexander wanted to bring East and West together. He began dressing in Persian clothes, and he demanded that people bow before him as they did for Persian kings. Many of his Macedonian soldiers did not like this. They feared he was forgetting his Greek roots. Still, he pushed forward. India and the Last March. In 326 BC, Alexander crossed into India. There he fought King Porus at the Battle of the Hydaspes River. Porus's army had elephants, something Alexander's men had never seen before. The battle was long and hard, but Alexander won. After the battle, he asked Porus how he wanted to be treated. Porus said, "Like a king." Alexander smiled and made him an ally, even giving him more land. Alexander wanted to keep going to the end of the world, but his army refused. They were tired, homesick, and scared of the unknown. At the Ganges River they said, "No more." Alexander was heartbroken. He had come so far, but finally he agreed to turn back. The journey home was one of the hardest. He chose a dangerous route through the Gedrosian desert. Many men died from heat, hunger, and thirst, but Alexander shared their pain. He walked with them, refused special treatment, and even poured out water when his men had none. The end of a legend. In 323 BC, Alexander returned to Babylon. He began planning his next adventures, maybe Arabia, maybe Carthage. But suddenly, he fell very sick. Some say it was a fever, others think it was poison. For days, he could not speak. His generals asked him, "Who will rule after you?" He whispered, "To the strongest." And then he died. Alexander was only 32 years old. The legacy of Alexander the Great. After his death, his empire broke into pieces. His generals fought each other for power. The dream of one united world collapsed. But Alexander's story lived on. He founded over 20 cities that carried his name, Alexandria being the most famous. He spread Greek language, art, and culture across Asia. He brought new ideas back to Europe. He changed maps. He changed minds. Alexander showed the world what was possible when a person dares to dream big, lead bravely, and never give up. Even more than 2,000 years later, people study his battles, read his stories, and speak his name. He was not just a king. He was Alexander the Great. Thank you for watching Master English Stories. This was the complete story of Alexander the Great, told in simple English so everyone can understand and enjoy. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. See you in the next story. Until then, keep learning, keep dreaming, and always remember, greatness begins with a single step.